He built a palace on the shoulder of the hill, where the stairs caught the sun and returned it as chill. At the gates every evening the crowd came to praise the little he gave from his glittering days. He bought a name that made a whole room stand and kneel, so that every word he spoke would harden to steel. He learned how to take, how to hold, how to claim, and no one in that kingdom knew him by name. The walls wore his portraits, his crests and his gold, and the carpets ran red as a river and cold. But nobody asked him what love he had known. They were reading the rings, not the man on the throne. Climbed the empty kingdom and left it behind, and the servant stood waiting for words he could not find. He owns the whole world laid out flat on a chart, and not the one kingdom that beats in his heart. Poor king in a crown of gold, the whole world open in his hand. Every gate in the kingdom swings, there is nothing he cannot command. Poor king with a hollow chest, he has purchased the earth and the air. He has gathered the world in his hands and has met no one waiting there. Poor king on the highest throne, the whole court moves when he calls. 1,000 will run at his word, and none of them holds where he falls. The crown throws a beautiful light, and it covers no part of the cold. The man who has nothing to love is the poorest of all who grow old. 12 nights he kept the hall and its torches alight, and the wine poured past the goblets, a flood in the night. He handed out horses and houses and land, and bought the devotion he held in his hand. Each time the laughter beside him ran thin, he signaled the fiddles to lift the loud din. The sound went up like a wall around the whole hall, and his own name inside it was not heard at all. Every mouth at the table laughed right on cue, and each toast was a bow that the coin ran through. The shape of the toast never altered a hair, but the man it was meant for was no longer there. If the throne were gone by the rise of the sun, if the gold in the vaults turned to ash, everyone who would walk through the door with no word of his name and sit down beside him and stay all the same. He hunted the answer, each face turned his way. Would you stay if the treasury emptied? Would you stay? He held back the question, he waited, he heard. The whole hall replied to him, never a word. Poor king in a crown of gold, the whole world open in his hand. Every gate in the kingdom swings, there is nothing he cannot command. Poor king with a hollow chest, he has purchased the earth and the air. He has gathered the world in his hands and has met no one waiting there. Poor king on the highest throne, the whole court moves when he calls. 1,000 will run at his word, and none of them holds where he falls. The crown throws a beautiful light, and it covers no part of the cold. The man who has nothing to love is the poorest of all who grow old. One night he went out with no garden, no crown, past the crystal that burned in his palace and down, with no errand, no escort, no reason to give, and the road for an hour made it easy to live. By an old chapel wall there was one small flame, and a poor man was feeding a stranger who came. He broke his last dry crust in two with his hands, said, "You look cold," and he made no demands. He never saw a king in the traveler's cloak, poured warm water for him, and he hardly spoke. For the first time he stood as a guest in the door, not the man that 100 bent spines bowed before. That hut had no marble, no gate and no guard, and no treasure inside it, and no door barred, and no one was measured in silver or gold. And the king in that firelight came in from the cold. Dry crust like the rarest of stones, and heard a man speak with no price in his tones. That poor man was richer than all he had known. He had a heart that could give, and it gave alone. Poor king in a crown of gold took it off and set it down, put his hand on the empty table, and looked at the weight of the crown. Poor king at the end of the road, learning the thing he had missed. Whoever has someone to love has no name on the beggar's list. Poor king walking down from the throne, with the vaults and the gates open wide. Better break bread with a stranger than to rule with a crowd at his side. The crown threw its beautiful light, and it lay on the table apart. And the king walked out with the bread and the first true weight in his heart. Gold buys in the room and the roof and the bed, and buys nothing to quiet the noise in his head. Gold buys him 1,000 to come when he calls, and not